Hello everyone, welcome to Cafe IO. In this video, we will talk about databases on cloud. We will be using DigitalOcean Cloud and PostgreSQL and try to deploy a database on cloud. We'll also talk about the different types of database options that we have that are available on DigitalOcean Cloud, and in general, how to make a good database choice along with factors that can influence your choices from a cloud perspective, which is to say which cloud provider you should choose. So let's get started. Now I've logged into DigitalOcean, and let's just go about trying to understand some options that we have. So DigitalOcean has tons of things from an infrastructure perspective. You have apps, droplets, functions, or databases, and we'll go to databases to build to create the database, right? These are managed databases, which means that there is the whole managing of the database engine will be taken care by DigitalOcean, so you don't need to worry about the infrastructure behind the scene. You will get automated failovers. Most of the configurations would be pre-set up. You can scale in, scale out on demand, and it supports a variety of database engines. So that's couple of important. So that's very important. Few more things which I want to talk about is ACID compliance, and that's when talking of databases, we need to understand how much of ACID compliance do we get. And really, this article lays out on DigitalOcean. You can just give it a search, and I'll try to put the link in the description. But this article really talks about the ACID compliance of various databases that are offered on DigitalOcean Cloud. So MongoDB is ACID compliant from version 4.0. MySQL is ACID compliant, although it is ACID compliant with two specific backend engines, which I'll try to name them later. And Postgres is an ACID compliant, and Redis is not completely ACID compliance because it is not meant for as an RDBMS. It ensures atomicity, but it cannot guarantee consistency, and it cannot guarantee durability. So there are ways to increase the Redis database durability, but you will have to sacrifice performance as it mentions here. So this is one important criteria when you look at your database choice, right? What are your needs from an ACID perspective? Do you need the strong transaction management that comes with ACID, and do you need all the four parameters, that is atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability, right? Another key aspect that when you have narrowed down, right? So MongoDB is NoSQL, Postgres is SQL, MySQL is of course SQL, Redis is a key value kind of pair. So you have couple of options, and we want to select the best one. So I'm gonna make Postgres the selection and give a call out what's the difference between Postgres and MySQL, and I'll try to talk about that for a minute. So Postgres database and MySQL both are relational databases, and they are fairly good at what they do. But MySQL is kind of a purely relational database, but Postgres is something which we call as an object relational database or database management system. What that means is Postgres has advanced data types which are not present in MySQL, things like XML and the ability to use inheritance, encapsulation, all of that. You can store basically data as objects directly in the database while working from .NET or Java or anything like that. There's a little bit difference in the way they are indexing. MySQL has binary trees and R trees, and Postgres supports multiple indexes type like expression index and stuff like that. You will have to really take a deeper dive into the type of requirement you have from an indexing perspective, because certain use cases are good for a tree kind of indexes, but you will want hash indexes also in some certain scenarios which Postgres offers. Another key difference with from a performance standpoint between Postgres and MySQL is highly optimized for reads. So if you have high frequency read operations, MySQL is good. But if you want to do both read write or write operations, I think Postgres would be a good point to start. From a simple complexity perspective, I would think Postgres is slightly more complex given the number of features that it provides. and the data types it provides, like network addresses, XML ranges, and all of that. But MySQL is very good if your requirements are pure relational database and you just want to have a simple setup of a relational table or a SQL database. So that's a little bit about the databases. Let's talk about the cloud, right? While I'm using DigitalOcean Cloud, I think there's multitude of cloud providers at hand. I think let's just search for cloud databases, and we will get multitude of them. Let's just look at maybe top cloud databases. Yeah, so we have Amazon RDS, Oracle, Postgres, Cassandra, DynamoDB, MariaDB. There's a large list. Microsoft has Cosmos DB, SQL Server. Google has BigQuery, which is very popular in a certain kind of use cases. There's database products coming as like Snowflake, which is really gaining a lot of large popularity. There's plenty of cloud databases. Now, couple of things to remember when you make a choice of cloud provider, right? One of the foremost thing I'll say is check the cost effectiveness of the platform from a budget standpoint. Behind the scenes, most cloud providers would be running VM and storage, and typically the cost associated can be very easily identified. You could go for instead of a managed database, you could go for a manual deployment, but that will be more of a human trade-off versus a managed system. Completely your call. You would also want to explore the range of features that are provided by the database system from an integration standpoint. If your existing setup is in a certain cloud, it would be a good idea to stick to that cloud provider, because you'll get a good integration and within the ecosystem compared to if you take a database somewhere outside. Look for reliability supports, what sort of availability zones are supported, what sort of downtimes have the product had in the past, and stuff like that. And lastly, check from a security standpoint what features are available. Does the database have any kind of integration with the security tool chains and stuff like that? So from a cloud provider perspective, I'll say that there's tons to think about and look at, but in general, some of these few points could help you narrow it down, right? DigitalOcean is a personal preference. Whenever I work on a personal pet project or something like that, or talk about a technology, I like to use DigitalOcean. Very developer friendly, and it's very easy to get onto the hands. It doesn't have like 200 services. So you go to manage databases, click create database cluster, and then it will take you to a screen where you select, the first thing you select is the region and data center. So certain data centers don't have the creates, they are disabled, that's fine. I'm gonna go to Bangalore, which is nearest to me, and then you have to be aware of the fact that some versions are also data center specific. For large cloud providers like Azure or AWS, I've seen these much more frequently, but I haven't found something like this in DigitalOcean. V15 Postgres is what I'm going to select. I could take anything, but I just like Postgres a lot. Then you'll want to select database configuration, and this is where I really liked DigitalOcean. They are very clearly calling out the CPU and the RAM that they will give out, the SSD that they will give out, the connection limit that they will give out. There's nothing hidden behind the scene like IOPS, number of this, number of that, etc. Charges are flat, but if you go and take a look at, let's say, RDS pricing on AWS, since it's a managed database, the pricing is I as far as I remember there's multiple factors apart from just this that you need to take into account. So that's one important selection that you'll need to do. I'll just select the $15 this. Then you just need to give it a name, put some tags, and that's pretty much it. So if you just click create database cluster, it will create the database for you. It will take some time. What I'll try to do is you have started it. So here are the username and some other information around it. Let's try to connect to it from visual Studio Code. I just have a Visual Studio Code and I have an extension called databases. So I'll just create a connection name Postgres, host is this, username is this, password is this, port number is password is this, default DB is default DB, this, and SSH tunnel, SSL mode require. Okay, let's try to connect. It doesn't find it. Username do admin, username do admin, default DB 25060, default DB, Postgres DB. This should okay. Let's just. Is it still under creation? Oh yeah, it's still under creation. Yeah, that's probably the reason for it. Okay, I will allow these inbound IPs. Let's see now if I get connection. So what I made a mistake is adding the IP. Let's see. And no, it still isn't connecting. I think it's probably still creating the database, so I am getting these errors. So we'll have to wait till the database engine is created, and post that I think most likely the creation process should work. Till then I'll just talk about this extension. So this extension is really, where is this? Database, what, Postgres, and write Postgres, and this is how I found it. Yeah, so you select this Postgres SQL. This is a general for a lot of different databases. It adds a database tab here, and you just go there and click connect and start that. Then that's ready. Let's just see if it has done. No, it's still in the process of creating. So so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna skip the video for a few seconds after this and see once it has been created, and then come back to the video. Alright, I'm back. So I realized the problem, and I think the problem is with my laptop. While the database is up and I was able to ping it, there is a problem from connecting it from VS Code, because I don't have the right drivers for Postgres, and unfortunately installing Postgres drivers on an Intel Silicon is going to take a little bit of time. So probably I'll do a different video about that. Sorry for that. So that was it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have liked this conversation, please do subscribe. Bye bye.